Peace, y'all. So, I am writing another book, and this one is nonfiction. And I figured that I would share with y'all my process. So, in the midst of writing it, going through it, I just wanted to share kind of like how I'm doing it, what I'm running into. So, it's going to kind of be like a journal, if you will. So, every day that I do any kind of writing on it or anything like that, I'm going to record a little video and upload it to kind of share what took place during that particular writing process, how I prepared for it, what I did through that one, what issues I ran into, how I resolved those issues if I did, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna start off with scheduling this thing out. Like I'm a huge planner. I have to be because I don't know if it's being a Pisces, an INFP, a mama, an entrepreneur, what I don't know, but my mind be on like a million different things at one time, and if I don't give myself like a GPS of some sort to mark out what's next, then I will be all over the place doing all kind of everything and accomplishing nothing. So I'm a passion planner freak. Here is like I have everything I need to do, and it's on here. It's like I have a master to-do list of like everything that I want to kind of accomplish, and then I have like a weekly breakdown and a daily breakdown, hourly too, really. But yeah, so for this particular week, so from Sunday the 24th, Saturday the 30th, and it's May 2020 right now, I wanted to start this guide. I wasn't specific. If I was giving someone advice, I would say be more specific in what you mean by starting it. So in retrospect, I would have went back and said something like start your outline or finish the introduction, something like that, which was something that I did this week. Yesterday, I actually started my outline for it. Today, I finished my introduction for it. Um, and I'm usually not an outliner. I think it's a nonfiction thing. When I'm writing novels, which is kind of how I started writing, like I wrote 2 novels first before I even delved into nonfiction. I never needed an outline. I just wrote as the story came to me and kind of went back and revised it once I was finished. With nonfiction, you do revision as well, but I just needed some plot points to know like what now, what next, etc. And it's also helped me so that when I thought of something and maybe it didn't fit in this particular section, I could just easily cut it and just drop it into the section that it belonged into. That was so much easier. And I do my writing in Google Drive, with Google Doc, which is in Google Drive. And I do that because I used to do it in Microsoft Word, but if something would have ever happened in your computer, which blessedly that actually did happen to me. So my computer failed, but I was using a thumb drive, um, which ended up breaking on me too. But even before it broke, all of my progress up until the last point of which I saved it, I didn't have it. So I only had so much, but I still was missing so much. And then the thumb drive itself broke, and I ended up having to start the whole freaking story over. Whew. I talked about how it was very difficult to start this book without an outline. I needed some plot points, a GPS to get started and to tell me where I'm going next, right? It was also difficult to start this particular project without a title. And sometimes a lot of my writing clients would tell me that like they would be so hung up on the title, and I would say, don't worry about that. You can add that later. Because in my experience, that's how it had pretty much always been. Either the title would come to me somewhere while I was writing the story, somewhere near the beginning or the end of the project, or maybe I finished even one particular book. I had finished the whole book, still couldn't think of a title, and I kind of bubbled with one of my writing friends, and we kind of came up with that thing like after the book had been finished. This particular project, though, I need my spirit said I needed that title before I could go any further. So what I created, I've used my own advice that I give a lot of my writers sometimes is to use a working title. And so you see here, this is my outline. You can even see I already did some scratching out. This probably won't even be my last title. This won't even be the one on the book, but it was just something to put down in order for me to keep going forward and getting this thing started, right? And so now moving on to the outline itself, as you can see here, so I kind of did a loose outline. It's really, really loose, kind of the basic one that we learn in junior high, high school, whatever like that. So I have the start for the introduction, and you can also add bullet points in here to talk about further what you want to talk about in your introduction. I also with my writers, I talk about a lot of times, use your outline as something to come back to when you're stuck. So if you have ever had writer's block, you just don't know what you want to write, or you don't feel like writing that day, it's really important to stay connected to the project. Just do something on it, so that way it don't end up being thrown on the back burner. And returning to your outline is a beautiful way to do that. So maybe start off saying, introduction. I named my chapters, but for yours, you might just say chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, etc. But then it's like I said, if you ever just need something to go back to because of writer's block or whatever, you can always come back around and add some points under there. So under your first interview, you can write like, what are some of the things you know that you want to talk about in that particular chapter. So for my introduction, I didn't put anything. I kind of flowed. But definitely for chapter 1, it was some things that I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to tackle, or it just came to mind. So I knew I added those in there. You can do the same thing with yours all the way down. Up until the point, your outline doesn't have to be finished before you start your project either. Just do it up until the point of what you know. Your outline going to evolve right along with your book. I feel like what feels more so like a journal entry. So for my chapter, for my introduction, which is what I worked on today, I was flowing. Like, I flowed pretty well. I think it helped too, my time of day that I wrote. So I write better in the morning. So I wake up at different times, honestly. Today I woke up around 6:30ish in the morning. Of course, I did my slow wake up, laying in the bed until I felt like getting up. And then when I did get up, I just, looked at my outline, kind of sat with that for a second, kind of, because all of our writing, before we actually start the writing typing process, you start writing in your head. That's normal. How long you do so, it can be a help or it can be a hindrance. Don't allow it to be a hindrance. Go ahead and start getting that thing on down on some paper. When I say paper, I mean typing it or writing. I just mean getting it out your head. So I did my writing in the morning. I opened up my laptop, got into Google Docs, and I just started flowing on my introduction. That first sentence can be a hindrance as well, because you knowing that that's the first thing that your reader's going to read, and you want it to be perfect. You want it to be a hook, as they would say. A lot of writing coaches and stuff would say, but don't get tied up on that, because that can be a hindrance. Like I said, that can really put you on pause. So just, if you have to just almost, just like I said with the title, if you just need to put one, just put one. And what you're writing now is not what your readers are going to read, most likely, because you have a revision process. So you write the book, you write the introduction to chapter 1, and maybe you're going to write chapter 6 before you write chapter 4. It's cool. You're going to write that thing, and then you're going to revise it. So that means you're going to go back and polish it up again. And you might revise it a second time and a third time. Who knows? But for now, you're drafting. So don't even worry about perfection. As best as you can, try not to worry about it. Just go ahead and get started. And that's what I did. And so after I was able to get across that 2 or 3 minutes trying to come up with that perfect sentence for the beginning with, and reminding myself, girl, don't worry about that, just write. I started flowing. And then another thing, lastly, that I did, I shared it. So once I finished it, my introduction, I copied it, pasted it, sent it to my boo, because for a number of reasons. So one, for accountability. Once I tell somebody that I'm doing it, I feel obligated to do it. You know what I mean? So that, and for two, I know he gonna read it and he gonna give me his honest feedback. And I don't need because remember, like, we just drafting right now. We don't need you made some errors right here, or go back and at the most, I just say, like, can you think of anything else I should add in here? And two, like, if you were interested in this subject, would this introduction make you want to keep reading further? That's really important. It's something that you want to do whenever you ask somebody to read your stuff or to review your stuff. Tell them what you want, what specific kind of feedback you're looking for. And if you're open to whatever else, add that too. But always tell them what information you're looking for, what questions you have about whatever it was that you just created. And so I will, now that actually, my goal was to finish the introduction or the outline for this particular week, to start it, I still have a lot of more days, about 4 or 5 more days left in the week. So I'm gonna strive to knock out chapter 1 as well. And once I do that, I'm gonna come back and let you know how that went. Peace.